I'm about to show you the most boring sales system you've ever seen. And I know boring is the last thing you came here for. You came here for the secret or the trick, the thing that finally makes sales easy. But chasing that is the exact reason why you're still stuck on the phones. I've coached over 5,000 salespeople and built sales teams that have done over $60 million in cash. And I went from negative $26 in my bank account to now making over $100,000 a month without ever having to take a sales call ever again. And the people I've watched actually break out, the ones who go from grinding calls every day to making 6 figures a month running the show, they never found a better pitch. They built 3 boring pillars, and none of them gets you to take more calls. And pay attention when we get to pillar number 3, because that's the one that actually gets you off the phones for good, and the one that almost every closer completely ignores. So let's get into it. Pillar number 1, people. Right now, you're a closer or a solo founder doing it all on your own. What you can personally produce. More calls, more of you. The only way past that ceiling is to stop being the only one selling and start building people who can sell. That right there is the leap from closer to operator. It's the first real leverage you'll ever have. But here's where most people blow it up. The second they try to do that, they hire the first rep who crushes the interview, and they expect that one hire to magically fix everything. You know, you had good vibes, they chatted, you were talking about sales, and hey, you know what, I like you, let me bring you on board. When you're great on the phones, the obvious move feels like, hey, let's go find someone who's great on the phones. And charisma is probably the worst thing you can hire for, because a charismatic closer with no coachability is someone who can catch a hot streak. Now he's complaining, the leads are bad, the marketing's bad, and blaming everyone but himself, and now you can't ever diagnose what's actually wrong with the problem. That's the unicorn closer. You can't replace him, you can't clone him, and the day he quits or slumps, your whole team goes out with him. All you've done is take the ceiling out of your own head and you've put it on someone else. The loudest guy almost never wins. The guy who wins is the one who's coachable, the one who has a strong work ethic, the one who actually fits in the culture and believes what you're selling it, the one who buys into the company. Talent you can't coach becomes a liability, but the work ethic and coachability compounds every single time. So here's what actually works. I stopped screening for the smoothest talker because, let's be honest, any decent sales rep can wing an interview and crush a role play. So for these 3 things: coachability, work ethic, and culture fit. Can this person take constructive feedback without getting defensive? And will they implement that feedback the next time around? Will they do the boring work nobody wants to do when no one's watching? And do they make the team a better place and an environment to be in? Because the hardest thing to do in business is take a business from 0 to $1 million a month. And if you're not having fun with the people you're doing with, and it's causing you headache and stress, people are gonna leave. The second is the onboarding and ramp up. So most people, they just throw reps onto a calendar and expect them to start closing deals. And if they don't close deals, they'll let them go and hire a new rep and replace that whole cycle again. That's how you actually stunt a company's growth. Instead, you want to ramp them up on a system where they learn every single detail about the offer, the avatar, who they're selling to, the script, the role play, the most common objections, FAQs. They study the recordings of the best rep or yours, and then they get on the phones and you drill them for a whole week, not months, because they're standing on this system. And number 3, the big one, okay, this is the shift that you have to make from being the best rep on the team to the person who's coaching the next best reps on the team. Every day you're gonna wanna take calls on the calendar because those are deals that you could be closing. But every time you're spending on the calendar, away from coaching the reps up, you're saying yes to money now today and no to leverage money tomorrow. Yes, it's gonna feel like discomfort, but that's the price of leverage. You're paying for the lost deals today, but for the opportunity to grow tomorrow, okay? And here's the thing, once you start doing that, that's the first ever dollar that you will produce when you weren't the one bringing it in. And that's leverage, which you've been missing this entire time. But the people on their own will break. How do you actually build a team? That's what pillar number 2 is gonna show you. Pillar number 2 is the systems. This is how you take everything that's in your head, everything that makes you good, and turn it into something that people can follow without you. Because right now, if you're the only top rep all your best stuff lives in one place, your head. The way you handle that one objection, or the way that you price drop, the way that you do your follow-up that gets people through the door, deciding when to push or pull, how do you disqualify one lead versus the other. If none of it is written down, none of it is teachable and replicatable. It lives and dies with you. So let me paint you a picture of a team with no systems, because you've probably lived it. I know I have. 5 reps doing 5 completely different things. One rep starts strong but can't close. The other rep burns the lead because he closes too hard. Everyone handles price objection in a different way, and no one really knows exactly how the offer works and why they should buy it. And every time a rep has a question, they ask you in the DMs for help in a private group chat so that no one else can learn from it. And it puts you in a position where you're just on Slack jumping over and the same conversation, same problem, same FAQs over and over again. You're not actually running a company, you're just a glorified babysitter at that point. And here's the real difference. A team that's built off a unicorn closer, AKA you, is fragile. And it's only as good as the best person on the best day. But a team built on a system is way more durable. It makes scaling predictable. It takes an average rep and has them produce above average numbers, because they're not leaning on just talent, they're leaning on a proven system. And that's the game, right? You're not trying to find 5 LeBron James. You're trying to build one machine. You want to take LeBron James Jr. and be able to bring him to the Lakers on the starting 5. And the reason I built this is because I got so tired of being the single point of failure. I got tired of being the only person who knew how everything worked. Because as long as that was true, I could never take a day off. I could never get sick. I could never truly step back and focus on things that would grow the company. The whole thing was dependent on me, and so here's how you fix it. The first thing you need is one way of selling. How do you do discovery? How do you pitch? How do you tie down and close? And then how do you objection handle? What are the main FAQs that are gonna come up, and how do I address these with either sales assets or product knowledge? Second is creating SOPs and playbooks for every part of the sales process. What to do when a lead comes in, what to do when there's a no-show happening, what text templates to use when to send which email, which lead magnet to send, which testimonials to send when. So these are things that needs to be documented and SOP'd instead of being in someone's head, because if that one person leaves, now all your IP goes out the window. Third is the onboarding cadence. You need to give them specific documents and recordings to review in a certain amount of time and answer specific questions about the sales process for what they learned each day of the week when they were onboarding. And when they go through this and they've proven they've done the homework, now you can see that the system allows you to scale much further instead of just spending more of your time every time you have to hire a new rep, spending 20, 30 hours a week with them. But here's the thing, you can have the best people and the cleanest systems on earth and still be flying by. Because if you can't see your numbers, you have no idea what's actually working and where you're headed. And that's the last pillar. Pillar number 3, data. This is the one that finally gets you off the phones for good. It's the one that most salespeople stepping into the leadership role completely ignore or don't know how to read and understand. Because when you come up as a closer, everything you do becomes a feeling, intuition. You've done it so many times, it becomes instinct. But this rep seems like he's in a slump. That lead feels hot. I feel like we are gonna have a good week. It's all feelings. There's no facts, there's no numbers. There's nothing that you can prove to the marketing team that, hey, this is why you should scale up. And when you're running a team on feeling, you have to be in everything, right? You have to sit on all the calls. You have to feel the room for yourself. You can never truly step back, because the moment you do, your context goes out the window and you're blind. And that's not how you scale a company. Every decision was on vibes. Should I fire this rep or coach him up? I don't know, let's just see. Are we gonna hit target? And the problem with running on vibes, the numbers comes out at the end of the month. And if you were wrong, it's already too late to fix, and you can't even fix it in the coming month. So the shift came in when I finally started running the business on real numbers instead of vibes. The wild part wasn't just better decision making, it's that the whole thing became much calmer and more predictable. Because when you can see exactly what's happening, you stop panicking, you stop reacting to every little thing, you just look at the board and you know what's happening. And here's what changes that. First is your dashboards. You don't need 50 metrics, you need your total cash collected, average order value, cash booking, units sold, total bookings, show rate, close rate. That's it. These few KPIs are gonna tell you the entire story. If your AOV is high but CPB is low, you've got a closing problem. If your CPB is high but units are low, you have a low lead flow issue. If your CPB is high and your cash is high, that's when you scale. Those numbers point you in the right direction and give you confidence in your decisions. Second is the call scoring. Without that, you're just coaching in this tunnel vision of like, hey, on this call, this rep did bad on this, let me coach him on this thing. But you don't know if that's the thing that he really needs to be coached on, or it's his discovery, because that's the thing that is dropping the most amount of money in his pipeline. This is knowing what's coming up instead of getting surprised. Once you have established your baseline KPIs, you can come up with a game plan with the marketing team on spend and forecast the closer availability to then do simple math to project exactly what you're gonna make by the end of the month. And then you go execute. It's that simple. And once the month ends, you look at where you ended up, and if you hit your target, you do it again for the next month. And if you missed it, you diagnose, see what happened, and take those lessons into the following month. And if you do this month over month for the next 6 months, your company will simply be a math calculation away from hitting the revenue targets. This last month, we just had a company do this exact same thing with 3 setters, and the projections that we came up with, we projected for 1.75 million, and that's exactly what we hit. And now, this next month, when I hire 1 more setter, we're gonna be able to grow that company by at least 20%. That's how powerful that is. And fourth, you have to start operating instead of staying stuck on selling. I know it's a mindset shift, but the sooner you get away from selling and focus on operating, you will be able to grow your team, you will be able to coach your team faster, they'll be able to ramp up harder, and you'll be able to have way better optics on exactly where the company's at and where the bottlenecks are at. And the problem is, so many people try to do all 3 in one, but you want to do it in this order, okay? If you're still stuck on the phones, then start with the person. That's your first taste of leverage. Then the systems. And if you already have people, but they're not ramping up quick enough, then you have to create the right systems and SOPs. Get what's in your head and put it in a playbook, document it. Use AI to help you with that. And then once you have everything documented, start tracking the numbers and learn what it's telling you and keep making tweaks and optimizing. People, systems, then data. Don't do it out of that order. And if you want my team to build these 3 pillars for your company, then just click a link below and we can chat. And if you want to see how I went from negative $25 in my bank account to running $1 million sales team, you can watch this video right here. I'll see you there.